Hello, my beautiful sisters in ministry out there. My name is Reverend Jocelyn, and I am the founder of Women in the Ministry, a community that's committed to helping women such as yourself start transformative ministries beyond the walls of the church. Now, my ministry journey started several years ago as a blog that eventually developed into a podcast that developed into me running trauma healing groups, which are essentially Bible studies to help people heal from trauma. I did that locally. Eventually, that became national. Then I started a Christian counseling practice, and now my ministry helps people across the country heal from trauma. Now, this was not an easy process. It was a lot of bumps and bruises and mistakes along the way. But one thing I had to learn was how to market my ministry. And that's what we're going to cover together today. Now, one of the main things I want you to understand is that in order for you to make a difference in the lives of those who you are called to serve, you got to get out there, sis. You cannot be in the witness protection program about your ministry, hiding behind people, not wanting to get out there. And I understand for my introverts out there, fellow introvert, you're looking at one. Sometimes we want to just be in our house, be behind, the scenes, don't want to put ourselves out there, but you got to get over that, sister, because you have a message to share. You have people who you're called to touch, and people need to know you. They need to know about your message. And there's different ways in which you can do that. The first way I want to talk about is the written form of getting your message out there. As I mentioned, when I first got started, it was through blogging. I wrote a weekly blog about the subject that I was really interested in. At the time, I wasn't even fully clear of my ministry focus. I just knew I wanted to encourage people. I knew I was passionate about someone's healing journey. And so I wrote stories of how God helped people to heal from trauma. I called it Faith Fridays. I was consistent in writing these blogs, and that kind of helped me to create some brand awareness. And little did I know, it was also helping with my SEO, search engine optimization. I was unfamiliar with that at the time, of how blogging can help people to find you on the internet when they search on Google. So I blogged week after week, and people started saying, hey, Jocelyn has great stories about trauma healing. That was great because at the time, I really wasn't ready to put myself out there as a speaker yet. Writing as a blog is a great start, and then a book. Some of you have incredible testimonies. I mean, you've been through some things. Through your story, you can document some of the learnings, some of the things that you want to share with people. Maybe you're a subject matter expert in a certain area. Writing a book can be a great way to help put yourself out there. And that sets the stage for the next way of spreading your message for your ministry, is through talking on podcast interviews or on stage. By you getting yourself out there as a guest for someone's podcast or a guest for someone's event, as a subject matter expert, which a book can help you to do, it really helps to create brand awareness and authority. Now, there's a couple ways that you can go about this. When I first was getting started, I decided to start my own podcast. This is not a road that everybody needs to take. I actually started my podcast, believe it or not, using free conference call.com, that is. I literally got on this little phone here, called someone up and say, hey, I'm doing an interview with you. And we recorded the interview that way. I didn't know what I was doing. Clearly, but it got me out there, and I started doing interviews week after week on my subject of healing from trauma. Once I got that focus of doing that week after week, it helped me to raise brand awareness about my subject, and I was able to advertise my trauma healing groups, and I was able to advertise our counseling service. Now, as another alternative, if you don't want to host your own show, because that could be a lot of work, you can be a guest on someone else's show. That's something that I encourage you to do. There's some great platforms out there, like, for example, Podmatch.com, where you can create a profile and you can pitch yourself to be a guest on someone else's show. And if they're interviewing you as an expert in your field, or they're interested in your subject and you have a great testimony, that can help you to get your message out to the world about your subject, your ministry focus, or whatever you would like to talk about. So podcast interviews are a great way for you to kind of get your feet wet if you're someone who's nervous with speaking, because eventually you're going to want to get on live stages at different events. You might decide that you want to host your own event. But before you do that, I encourage you to try to speak at events that are being hosted by someone else. It takes the pressure off. And when you're first getting started, you might choose to speak for free. And that's great for experience. If you're choosing to speak for free, make sure that you have someone take some snapshots of you on stage for your website, and you get some video footage of you speaking, because you'll be able to use that for marketing materials for whatever your ministry is about. But that can really help you, again, to get your message out about your ministry. In addition to that, one of the things that we need to be thinking about, sisters, is our social media presence. Yes, social media, if you haven't figured it out, is here to stay. You want to figure out which platform is best for you. Is it Facebook, which is great for typically older, middle-aged demographic? You'll find them on Facebook. Or Instagram, still very popular with young adults, and you can look up the statistics. It changes from day to day sometimes on who is really focused on a certain platform. Maybe LinkedIn, that reaches different professionals. Whatever your focus is for your ministry, you want to figure out where your people are hanging out. Which brings me to my next point. When you're coming up with your marketing strategy, you want to know the people who you're trying to reach. Who is your ideal client, sis? Who are you trying to serve? Who do you want to know about your message? Is it women? Is it, does it matter? Gender? It doesn't matter. Maybe it is children. I don't know what your message is trying to reach, but you need to know that. You need to be very clear on who your message is for. That way, your marketing can be directed to that individual. At the end of the day, you have to be intentional about singing your message from the rooftops so that people know about the wonderful things that you offer. You cannot be shy about this. Now, this is just a short video that covers some basic tips for you to market your ministry, but I have a number of other tools available for you that I want you to learn about in, first of all, my free ministry launch starter kit, which you can download through the link below, but also through my book, Sister Start Your Ministry. I have a whole chapter in my book about how to market your ministry so that you're not an undercover agent, but you're out here spreading the word of God and helping to change lives. So if you'd like to learn more about that, visit the show notes below. Make sure that you at least take advantage of the free offering, but also if you're really serious about getting your ministry out there, get a copy of the book. That's it for this short episode of how to market your ministry on our channel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time.